What's up, friends, and welcome to another 6-1-Indie Showcase developer interview. My name is Kyle from the 6-1-Indie side of things, and today I'm joined by Achilles, creator of the game, and I've been practicing this for since we did the recording of the show. SAUDADE. Did I?
Ooh, very close.
I was
Yeah.
close? Okay, alright, good.
You were close. You did it right. It's
Yeah.
saudade. Yeah.
It's awesome, yeah. Well, thank you for, of
Very
course,
cool.
allowing us to show off the game and for joining me for this interview. Let everyone know about your sweet-looking game. But before we get into that specifically, tell us a little bit about yourself and your history as a game developer.
Yeah. I am Achilles, and I am a Spanish indie dev. I'm actually a musician. I'm an audio producer and composer, sound designer, but I do touch a lot of different things, and cinematography is one of my passions. And so in this project, I am pretty much doing everything because the solo dev life. And I am pretty new to the industry itself because I just turned 21 last month. So I am enjoying a lot the talented people that there is around in this community.
Happy belated birthday. How's it feel?
Thank you. It feels fresh. It feels
Yeah,
nice.
good, excellent. How long have you known that you wanted to get into games per se? You mentioned music and cinematography and whatnot. What about games made you want to make one of your own?
So I've been around the industry for 2.5 years. I've been doing and around game circles for 3-4 years, and I guess I was very lucky to be around people who are very passionate about it to the point that they transmitted it to me. And it's the medium that gets the most of the things I like, right? Music and image, and it's the ultimate medium.
Awesome, yeah. So Saúde today looks like absolutely no game that we've ever played before. Can you tell us about how and why you chose the look for this game?
Curiously, this look came from limitations. Because again, it started just me, and then I dragged my programmer into this and my creative partner who helps me with shooting and that stuff. So because I have a full-time job, it would be impossible for me to make the art of a game like this and finish it before a decade passes. So when we approached this, we tried different ways in which we could have a creative result that was unique but also possible to make during the production. And we ended up with finding that photography and live action, like stop motion, is the best way to do that and the most fun way to do that too, in a way. It is a lot of work in pre-production, but it pays off really well.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, like, what are the challenges making a stop motion game? I can't even imagine, like, when I watch movies that are stop motion, like, blows my mind. I can't imagine a game where the player is in charge of what's going on the screen.
Yes.
So what are the challenges there, and then what are the benefits of choosing this style?
So there is a lot of planning because again, as you say, it's every frame counts before you go into shooting and before you go to a location. You need to know how the player is going to interact with the scene. What do you need to separate from the scene? It's not only the background or the player, but the player is going to interact with the background itself, or if there are objects in the scene. And if something goes wrong, you have to improvise in the having a lot of different variables in mind in that sense. So it's a lot of planning, a lot of storyboarding, a lot of uh, thinking, prototyping how things can go best. And I guess that's where the main body of the work goes, the shooting part of it, and then the processing in post production, the making the game look and how it looks. And I guess when you get to the point of programming, it's pretty straightforward. The hard part is the part that comes before that. So that's the benefit in itself, that from a technical standpoint, it's a quite simple game. But in a production, from a production point of view, it requires a lot of minute attention to detail. But the benefits of that are like I don't have to worry too much once the recordings are done. When we get back home, it's just like, oh, finally we shot the scene. It's done now. It's this. The process is pretty straightforward, right? So yeah, that pays off.
Awesome. If the visual looks of this game wasn't alluring enough, the behind the story and themes is also incredibly like inviting and interesting. The Steam game description reads: uncover the story of this godforsaken soul who procrastinates on giving up on surviving. One totem, one weapon, one recipe. Without spoiling anything, what's going on?
So yeah, it holds quite a heavy narrative. From a light-hearted point of view, I want to think that. So the narrative here is like we've got this character, which is just going through his homeland that has been it's deserted, it's barren, kind of in a post-apocalyptic scenario, and the player has no context. You end up learning how the character ended up there and what's going to happen next, but you've got this character who's barely doing anything, who's like struggling to keep going through, and it's a game that it holds a lot of autobiography from me and my sister, because it's a game that I started writing to cope with. I ran away from home a year and a half ago, and I'm not currently living in my homeland. So this game is kind of like the result of the worry in my head of what would be the worst thing that could happen to me, right? So it touches grief, and it touches the apathy and self-destruction, and what happens to your loved ones, and how culture is tied to that, right? And that's why it's therapeutic for me to get these things out there with the world in a way.
That's like one of the main reasons why I love narrative games, because it allows people to, it gives them an outlet to express themselves and their inner thoughts.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that you're able to use this game to kind of like go through that, because we all have our struggles that we deal with every day, and I'm happy that you have your medium to kind of showcase it and hopefully helps other people going through similar things.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's
thanks.
Awesome. Yeah. There's one recipe in the game, Galician fiolas. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
I got it?
Yes,
hey,
right. Completely right.
I'm like 2 for 3 today. That's not bad. That's not a bad average. What is the significance of this recipe to the main character, and why make a cooking game that only has the one recipe?
So in a way, I've always felt like cooking games left me kind of obviously with wanting to know more about each recipe, because like when you go through several recipes, and it happens very fast, you may not take into account every part of a cooking process. And so Galician filloas are like very, very, very thin crepes. They're not crepes and they're not pancakes, but it's a recipe that has been in our culture for hundreds of years, and it comes from the working class, because it holds only 3 ingredients, and if you add sugar to it, it's a dessert, and if you don't, then it's a meal. And you would think, well, a 3-ingredient recipe, how can you like make a game that's just made about that one recipe, a cooking game with one recipe, right? But because of the process of making it's a recipe that you take an hour to complete without stopping while you are making it. It's just constant cooking, and it needs a lot of concentration, because the filloas are so thin that you can mess up very easily. So the monologue that I have in my head while I'm doing that, really, I wanted to transmit that with the game, of like how every time you go through the recipe in the game, you focus in a different part of it, in the temperature, in the crispiness, in the, like, you're fully immersing yourself in a specializing in this one recipe to get to know how the character, why it's so important to the character. And it's a way also to bring light to this recipe that I adore so much.
That's awesome. How hard was it to shoot like the cooking part in stop motion?
I have to say, I think it's the more the part that was the most complex,
Yeah.
and there are still some scenes that we are reshooting and trying to improve in different ways. Because while you can record those parts at home, or you don't need to go to a location to shoot them, it's still a hard process, especially when there's not a lot of people involved. Some of the scenes I had to record by myself, and you are using both hands in a constant motion. So it takes a lot of it takes work to do the trick. I had to hold the automatic shooting button from the camera with my mouth and control it with my teeth at some points. And
That's dedication and very high
yeah.
skill. I can't do that. That's awesome. We've come to the end of the interview already, but before we go, I want to ask you a question that we ask all the devs that sit down with us for these interviews, and I want to preface this with there is no right or wrong answer. So everyone has different interpretations of this, so no stress about it whatsoever. But to you, what does being indie mean?
Well, I guess to me it means like the knowledge that there is no lobby or no establishment putting a wall between what the devs want to say and the game itself, right? And I guess it doesn't have to be a political game to for that to have an effect, because it's a vision kind of thing. And that's tricky because sometimes we use low budgetness as a filter to get honesty from games. If we want honesty from a game, we go to the indies, right? Because they are not tied to, like, they may not be tied to very big financial. They are not driven by a financial. I guess that's the stereotype, right? And I don't know, but so we end up mixing indie development with precarity, and well, we shouldn't do that. I'm no one to talk because, like, I have a full-time job, and still, budget is a complicated thing, right? But I guess what gets people attracted is the hints of home craftsmanship we enjoy from indies. The survival, the climax of survival from our own stories, but not in the pain kind of way, but in the emotional things that we go through in life. I guess in my particular case is what I focus on, even if you can still make that with a game that's fun and mechanical, and I don't know. So I guess it's that, just the rawness of a view that's not obstructed in a way, I think.
Yeah, no, great
That's
answer.
it for
That's
me,
great. Absolutely, yeah, awesome. I love hearing just all the different devs give their own answers because, like I said, there's no wrong answer. It means different to
I
everybody.
can't
So that's
wait to
great.
listen to what people say, because, like, it's something that
Yeah,
it's really food for thought.
absolutely, 1000%. Yeah. Keely, thank you so much for joining me here today, and of course, once again, for showing off the game on the showcase. We're super hyped for it. Hope people really enjoyed it as well. If people want to stay up to date on the game and like when it's coming out, where to play, where can people find all that information?
Well, they can find it on my Twitter, which it's no estoy Aquiles, which is on Spanish, but I don't know, maybe we can link it
Yeah,
or
it'll be in
something.
the description.
Just googling the name of the game is enough. It's a unique word, I guess. Thank you very much for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's a pleasure to be part of this. Thank you very much.
Awesome, thank you. And everyone watching this, if you haven't watched the showcase yet, what are you doing? It's right here on our YouTube channel, so please go watch that, as well as all of the other wonderful devs that we've sat down and interviewed that are part of this year's showcase. All the information on all the games are up at sixoneindie.com. Links to the store pages, so please go wishlist, buy them in case they're out already. Do all the things, support the devs that are making them. We love you very much. Please stay safe and play more indies. See you later. Bye.